Hi, I'm Rob, and I have RP, Retinitis Pigmentosa. I'm registered blind. These are questions that people have asked me, and these are my answers.
Okay, so first question is, are you totally blind? Do you see any light, or is your vision just really terrible?
It is terrible, but I can see stuff. So the easiest way to explain it is if you've got two straws and you think about seeing through the straws, that's what tunnel vision is. So my peripheral vision stops like there. I can see there, but if I close my left eye, I can see my right hand, but now the left one only comes into shot like there. Yeah, there. So that's what my vision is like currently. It's deteriorated rapidly over the last 3 years. So my peripheral has really closed in. I can still see in the middle, but I have floaters, so I have pixels, yellow and blue pixels in front. So what I'm seeing through the straws isn't quite as clear as it was before, and this really does create problems. The official line is for someone to be severely sight impaired, they have to have less than 20% vision left. I don't really know what that means. I don't know how that's even a thing, but I know I have less than 10% of my vision left. It's probably lower than 10, maybe 5 or 6%, but I can still see some stuff, so I'm not completely in the dark. I can see a lot.
Do you still say I see when you comprehend something?
If you go to my YouTube channel, and I'm not intentionally doing this to get you to go and look at my YouTube, but that would be fantastic. Lauren, my wife, has told me that I see, if you see, keep your eyes peeled a lot. So there's a lot of videos where I'm not sure whether I should have edited it out, because I do a lot of content for visually impaired and blind people, and I'm telling people to keep their eyes peeled for content coming up. But yeah, I definitely see things. I feel things a lot. I say I feel a lot. I definitely see a lot in sentences. Yeah, it's a habit. I'm trying to break it because it's probably quite offensive to other visually impaired and blind people, me saying, if you can see what I'm saying, you know. But yeah, great question. I like that.
Is it true that your other senses can be heightened?
Yes. Now there is a rude answer to that, in that my touch, my feel is really good. I'm a sports therapist, and so I feel things, I think, differently to how other people do. It may be something that I've developed through my work. I just do better with my hands, and sometimes when I'm working I actually close my eyes and just feel stuff, which sounds very strange, doesn't it? But that's one thing. My hearing is very, very good, so be careful having conversations around me, because I can be sitting in one room and be listening to what someone else is saying in another room. It's really good for in a big office environment when people are trying to keep information to themselves, gossip and stuff. Hearing is good, and touch is good. Smell as well. Smell is good. I always have nice aftershave on because I like smelling nice, and obviously that means I can smell when things are, you know, I don't even know what I'm saying, but yeah, I can smell a lot.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Well, how many fingers am I holding up? Normally, so it's interesting because when people put their hands out to shake my hands or whatever, I don't see it. I can see things. I just tend to either take photos and really zoom in, because that's what iPhones are there for, right? To zoom in on stuff that you can't see. So that's good. And it is quite funny because when I'm looking at the charts and the opticians, my left eye in particular is so bad that I can't even read the top letter. So the optician has now gone to how many fingers am I holding up to kind of test me.
Were you born blind, or did it happen later in life?
So yeah, so mine has definitely got worse as I got older. I have friends who have retinitis pigmentosa the same as me, and they lost their sight a lot earlier on. I do know friends that are in their 70s and still have good sight with RP. I was very lucky. I still feel I'm very lucky to see what I see. It's a weird thing though, because it's such a scale of blindness. So be careful when you assume a blind person with a stick can't see anything, because a lot of us can see more than you think.
What do you see in your mind's eye and imagination, and what do you see when you dream?
Oh, this is great. I actually asked this question on TikTok because I still have a good amount of sight. The really interesting thing about me when I dream is that I see perfectly. I can see everything perfectly. I've never seen myself with a cane. I've never seen myself walking into something that I haven't seen in my dreams. It's really weird. And I asked other blind people the same question, and actually they can see, they see stuff normally when they dream. It's bizarre. I don't know how it works. And if there's anyone watching who is an expert in dreams or brains and how it works and how it connects to the eye, I'd be fascinated to know for myself. But I find it incredible that I don't see very well, but in my dreams I see everything perfectly. It's like watching a movie. When I'm dreaming, there's no disability at all. On this post, someone messaged me back and said that they're in a wheelchair, and when they dream, there's no wheelchair. It's really incredible how disability doesn't seem to transfer into dreams.
Somebody else has said, how will you describe colours and appearances, and how do you receive overall concepts like what a bird is?
I get colours wrong, so I will look at something. This jumper, for example, I've always felt this jumper is navy blue, but apparently it's black. It's a bit like colour blindness. You know, I've got a green bag that is grey, and I only found out yesterday it's grey, and I've had that for 2 years, and I've referred to it as my green bag. I think because I have been lucky to see for so long, and I study a lot and I learn and I look at stuff, because I always knew my vision was going to deteriorate, so I took a lot of time to study and look at stuff, because I may not always be able to look at it, and how would I know what a banana looks like versus banana's a bad idea. Yeah, I think because I've seen a lot of stuff, I'm able to use that experience to help me fill in the blanks. Someone that's never seen anything ever, I don't know how they build that picture up in their minds. The thing about blind people is they are really good with touch. So I would think if you'd held a bird, you can probably draw quite a good idea of what something looks like based on what you can touch. If I'm in a cafe, I'll be looking at the card, but I'll also be touching it to work out where the handles are and how close it is to the edge of the table. So you start doing those things naturally, because that's how you build up a better picture of how far away is the cup from the side of the table, how big is the cup, how heavy is it likely to be. All of these things you're building up without seeing it.
Have you been in love or had a crush? What exactly would cause you to have a crush on someone?
That's a great question. When I was younger, it was definitely visually what someone looked like. As I got older, I appreciate other things. So Lauren wears a perfume by Jo Malone. Basically any perfume by Jo Malone. Lauren wears it and I absolutely love it. It started off with pomegranate noir. I bought Lauren a bottle of that, and that got her hooked on Jo Malone. And she's been wearing it ever since, but I absolutely love it. So I've actually turned around and said to people before, I absolutely love your aftershave or perfume. They look at you like you're completely nuts. But yeah, I really love it when somebody smells nice. So for me, if I was going on a date and someone didn't smell nice, or was a bit of it, like, I probably wouldn't be attracted to them. And obviously just the sound of someone's voice. So if they've got a really loud voice, I'm not so keen on it. As someone that's got a really offensive laugh, or a particular thing like that. For me and Lauren, obviously Lauren looked fantastic and our date went really well. There was nothing offensive, nothing offensive at all. So yeah, we were good.
When converting text to speech, do sentences sound cooler using lower caps and louder in caps lock?
So I've not had much experience of that, because most people at the moment, I'm using voice notes a lot more, and I like that because I hear people's voices and it's easier. Text messages, I'm very good at reading what I think they've written, so I make mistakes quite a lot, and that can be quite amusing sometimes. I like a voice note. The text to speech thing is very, very weird. If you've never experienced it, download an app and just play some messages through it. It's very strange. So it sounds really sped up. It doesn't keep normal pace. It really speeds it up. So it sounds like when you used to watch an old videotape, kind of on fast forward, and you could kind of, it's very odd, but it's a lifeline for people, and I think that's the important thing. The lowercase uppercase thing, I don't know. I don't think it shouts louder if you're all uppercase. But something really interesting, hashtags. If you put a hashtag and you don't capitalize it, the text to speech doesn't recognize that it's words. So it will literally try and say the whole thing in one go. So if you capitalize Robert Sears, it will say my name. But if you just have it all lowercase like hashtags are supposed to be, it will just read the whole thing as one word. And that makes it really difficult for blind people. So this is a really funny story that happened on Instagram. And I don't normally look at someone's stuff and say, oh, come on, that's definitely not right. But somebody was advertising how to make your Instagram reels and posts go viral. And they were saying that basically alt text is another way for you to fit keywords into your content. So I actually commented and said, well, if you do that, you're actually making your post really difficult for visually impaired and blind people to understand. It's there for you to describe what's in the image to help somebody that has no sight or very poor sight, how to, this is what you're looking at. A tall, handsome man called Rob, and let's say he's wearing a navy blue with sky blue stripe, and he's sitting on a really comfy sofa with a microphone in front of him, and he looks to be really excited to be talking. That's what the image description will be, and that's kind of what the alt text is there for. It so that when screen readers are trying to make sense of social media, photographs on websites, all of this stuff, the screen reader can look at the image and it can read it, because even if you put text on a thumbnail, a screen reader can't read that. So that's what it's there for. They don't want a load of hashtag follow me, hashtag viral, hashtag whatever. They actually want a description of what's going on.
Are there any situations you've got into where you have struggled or where people have reacted to you in a certain way?
Yeah, so I think this was more of a problem when I was younger. I don't tend to go into places where I now feel like I'm going to get myself in a situation, because I'm a lot more risk averse and the world is a nasty place. So if you're someone that can't see very well, why would you go into town at night when there's loads of drunk people? It's just not a sensible thing. I've lived in London for a while, and it's rough. It's really rough to live in a place like that. Me and Lauren went to New York. I really was not okay with New York when we first got there. Walking around New York at night, I felt really vulnerable and isolated and worried about Lauren. During the day, it just felt completely different, because that light just allowed me to really relax and take it all in. But nighttime has always been tough for me, because that's when I have night blindness, so it's a struggle. And again, I don't know what people perceive at night. I assume it's a lot more than nothing. I can just see darkness and bright lights, so that they're my two options. There's nothing in between. So nighttime has always been something that's been quite tough for me. But nightclubs and pubs and drinking have always been part of growing up, and sort of, particularly when I went to university, it was something that everybody went through. So I didn't want to miss out. And at that point, I wasn't using a white cane because I can see enough, I don't need this. And I wasn't as open about my disability as I am now. And so I would get myself into really tricky situations because I couldn't see. So whether that was walking into someone and spilling their pint, crossing roads, not seeing stuff. Something I used to get a lot of is that, why are you looking at me funny? It was always very confrontational, like what? People will never look at someone and think they can't see very well. That's probably why he's staring at me. At that point, it's like who are you looking at like that? Do you want to fight or something? And it was just like, so there was a lot of them situations, a lot of times where my friends would have to say, oh, he's like, he can't see very well, sorry about that, blah. In hindsight, I probably should have had a cane at that point to tell people, I can't see very well. But I was young and, I didn't want to associate with the label of my disability. So I used to just go and see what happened. And because I'm 6'4", I was heavily into weight training at that point. I didn't really care. So if someone wanted to have a fight, I'll go outside and have a fight if you want to. And normally when you react in a calm way saying, well, if you want to fight me, well, that's fine. most people are like, no, you're not worth it and blah. But I used to get a lot of that. I used to get into a lot of confrontational situations that I would have to diffuse with a bit of humour or buying people drinks to replace what I'd knocked over. But I just don't tend to do that anymore, because why would you? Like, they're horrible places, bright lights, loud music. But obviously when you're young and drinking and it's a cool thing to do, then that's fine. I could sit here for hours and hours just telling you stories of stupid stuff I've done. But save that for part 2. So if you're still watching at this point, thank you. If you've got other questions, leave a comment and let us know. And if you found this interesting, then please give it a like. It really helps my channel to grow, and that's something that I've really been working hard on, improving content. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you soon.